So a little bit of a Twitter battle between myself and Shannon Sharpe right now. Basically, I kind of just asked him a question because I thought it was funny. That's for later. I thought it was funny that this morning he gave, this speech about Carson Wentz. He gave kudos to Carson Wentz for playing with an injured offensive line without any receivers and the degree of difficulty, right, that Skip loves to mention so much. I'm just curious why we don't give these same qualifiers for Lamar Jackson. It's just curious to me. Like, Lamar Jackson is playing without Ronnie Stanley, his first team all-pro left tackle, injured, done for the season. Marshall Yanda retired at the offseason, his Hall of Fame right guard. That was one of the biggest reasons why we were so dominant last season. He's gone. We've been dealing with injuries on the offense. We had to move Orlando Brown, who's our starting right tackle, to the left side. We have DJ Fluker starting on the right side. You have either Bradley Bozeman or Tyree Phillips starting at right guard. Matt Skura has not been good this season. He's coming off an injury. He's an undrafted free agent who played well, but has not had the greatest season this year. And then you have Bradley Bozeman on the left guard position, who's not too bad, but it's not been an ideal scenario. And obviously I was expecting for Hollywood Brown to really step up and become that guy, but he hasn't. Really, he's kind of been a little bit disappointing. You guys got to admit, even if you love Hollywood Brown, he has been a little bit disappointing. Shout out to my guy, Jeffrey Bob. He says, have you seen that Lamar interview clip that just came out? So I didn't watch it yet, but I did see some quotes about it that basically Lamar was saying that the defenses that we've been facing are actually calling out, oh, it's a run. Oh, it's a pass. So, I mean, this just goes to even more like suspect play calling that we've been dealing with. Greg Roman has not been the best offensive play caller this season. You guys know how much we've been complaining about it. So why doesn't Lamar Jackson get these qualifiers? Like, why can't we say, oh, look at what he's dealing with? I saw even Ryan Clark talking about how he would take Kyler Murray over Lamar Jackson, which I don't think is like crazy to say. I think that's fine. But I mean, just imagine Lamar Jackson with the type of weapons that Kyler Murray has. I would just like to see what Lamar would be able to do with a DeAndre Hopkins on his team, with a Larry Fitzgerald, with, some of these veteran receivers that know what, Christian Kirk even. Kyler Murray has the greatest weapons. I'm not saying that Kyler Murray isn't talented, because he is. He has a great arm, and he has, he's fast for how small he is, how diminutive he is. He's a great player. I'm not at all trying to take anything away from Kyler Murray, but I'm just saying, like, you can't compare the situations that both these guys are in. They're actually surrounding Kyler Murray with a very good supporting cast. And Lamar, plain and simple, he's kind of forced to be the only offensive weapon sometimes because receivers aren't getting open. Offensive play calling is pretty suspect. The offensive line is getting beat. I'm just saying, man, like, I don't think it's fair that all these other quarterbacks are getting, they're getting some respect for what they're surrounded with, what they're dealing with, but Lamar can't get that same respect. I just think it's kind of weird to me. But anyway, I saw that, Jeffrey, like you mentioned. Greg Roman, apparently, even the defenses that we're facing up against know what's coming. Like, that's how you know that it hasn't been creative. So it's a problem, man. It's a problem. Lamar is dealing with all these issues. And again, it's not entirely like, I understand, because he's coming off of that unanimous league MVP season. So he's held to a higher bar than most quarterbacks are. Believe me, I understand that. But I'm just saying that he's not in the best situation like some of these other quarterbacks are. So I just don't know why people overlook that. And when it comes to Lamar Jackson, but when it comes to other quarterbacks like Carson Wentz, who's not having that great of a year, but he's dealing with some issues, I don't get why he gets, those excuses. And whereas Kyler Murray has all these weapons, and yet they just lost to the Dolphins, right? And I understand Tua Tagovailoa is a good quarterback and all that. The Dolphins are a good team. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that Lamar is 6-2. And look at what's been going on, the offense around him. He has had a couple bad games, like you guys saw that I talked about it, that he lost us the Steelers game, right? He had a very bad game against the Steelers, but considering like what's around him and what he's been going through right now, I just don't understand why he's not allowed those excuses. He has to be MVP level every single game, every single snap. He has to be the MVP of the league. And I just don't agree with that.